Hey everyone, Matt Pisarcik from RazorEmporium.com. Today, coming at you behind a city of machines on my desk. I feel like a transformer or something back here, but seriously, we put a video out a few weeks ago all about the 10 ways to not screw up your razor, and one of the most common replies and comments that people were putting was, are ultrasonic cleaners safe? Can I use an ultrasonic cleaner? And so rather than put a one word yes, it was kind of a lot of, it was a big can of worms to have to answer. So I thought, you know what, let's just do a video all about ultrasonic machines. So that's what we're here to do today. What is an ultrasonic machine? You may be asking. If you haven't already heard of it, an ultrasonic machine is a device that uses heat and sound waves to do cleaning. So it has a heater, you put in water, you put in something else, a solvent, a surfactant, and then you throw some sound frequencies through it. And you say to yourself, what exactly do the sound frequencies do? So without getting too far into physics, very briefly, an ultrasonic machine produces very high ultrasonic frequencies, usually around 35 to 45,000 hertz. And those sound waves create low pressure and high pressure zones within the water. These different pressure zones create bubbles that collapse because of the changing pressures. Those collapsing bubbles scrub your parts in the process of collapsing because they emit energy. I don't understand the full science, but that's what I've read, and that's what they say it works. Generally, when you turn them on, you hear a very annoying buzzing sound, and we had all three going a few minutes ago, and we were just kind of like, it was horrible. It's not a very pleasant sound, and usually the more powerful they are, the more loud they are. So that's how they work. Now, all that being said, I think it's important to note from the get-go, from my background, we use ultrasonic machines a lot in our workshop. These are not cleaning miracles. They, in my opinion, and for my usage and for razors, right? We're all here for razors. They are usually the second to last or the last step of a cleaning process. They are used in conjunction with many other mechanical or chemical or whatever other kind of processes to clean or restore or whatever you want to do to the metal. They're not going to be like a magic box that you drop in a dirty old razor and out comes a perfectly clean, shiny, replated looking razor. But they are very effective. A lot of other industries use these. So you may have heard of ultrasonic cleaners from jewelers use them a lot. Dental labs, the dentist offices use them. Hospitals, surgical equipment. So they all go in here. And these are not the same as autoclaves. I get people saying ultrasonic / autoclave. Autoclaves use steam under pressure. These use water, and there's no pressure because the lids come right off. Now there's a little bit of steam coming out, but it's not sealed down like a crock pot, with compressed steam coming on your parts. I guess as tattoo parlors use autoclaves a lot, apparently. So that is the kind of the general essence of what an ultrasonic cleaner is. Is it safe? Can you use an ultrasonic cleaner for your razor? Yeah, of course. I don't think there's a finish I would say is bad. You could put silver, gold, even gold with a lacquer, rhodium, nickel, chrome, stainless steel, brass, any finish I could think of is going to be safe. You do want to make sure you have a couple caveats in place, little check marks to put. First, you should be using distilled water. We use deionized water in my shop, but that's a whole other conversation, the difference between distilled and deionized. But distilled water works just fine. It's very cheap, and you can get this off the shelf at the grocery store. So buy distilled water. Basically, you're not wanting to put anything else onto your part, right? You don't want to have little hard water deposits onto your parts. So distilled water is the best thing you can put in them. Outside of deionized water. And the other thing you're going to put into them is going to be a solvent and a surfactant. And you say, this sounds crazy. I don't remember a chemistry class. What is a solvent? What is a surfactant? Again, I'm not going to teach you high school chemistry class, but in short, A solvent is something that is going to help break down oils and grease and grime and kind of break that apart. And then you have a surfactant that's a wetting agent, and that's something that's going to use to basically lubricate your water, if you want to say it that way, and make oil or grease or grime or soap scum want to come off your part. So the best analogy of something that's both a solvent and a surfactant is this, a dish detergent. I can let you guess by the color and the shape of the bottle what this is, but it's the one I recommend all the time, the dish detergent. That is what I would say is a perfect off-the-shelf, at-home way to clean using ultrasonic cleaner, is to put a couple drops, just a couple drops of this. You don't need a lot. What we use in my shop is something a little bit more strong. This is something that is a little bit dirty bottle. Sorry, it's got some stains on it, but this is also a very, very, very strong detergent. It's even beyond the concentrated version of this. It's extremely basic on the pH scale, and it's also incredibly surfactant-y. It's incredibly slippery. It's a very strong detergent, basically. It does a fantastic job at removing polishing compound, which is what we use these machines for. So again, we don't put dirty razors. We don't get a razor in from tune-up, from you guys and just, drop it in the ultrasonic machine. That was an easy profit there. No. We're going to take apart the razor and we're going to polish it on a motor. There's going to be polishing compound left on it, and then we're going to use these machines to take that off and get all the polishing compound and make sure it looks shiny and clean for you guys. So we use a very strong buffing compound remover to do that. You can buy that off the shelf if you know where to get it. But I would say for general cleaning, a dish detergent is more than enough. There is one other product I kind of wanted to try years and years and years ago when I first got started, back when Razor Emporium was still in my kitchen. I had used a denture cleaner. I really just wanted to try this again for the video. But I think these use enzymes. Yeah, well, here we go. Sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, a couple other things in here to really do the cleaning. So we're going to find out if these do any good, a little denture cleaner. But that's really the magic, is the water and the heat and the sound waves are all doing a lot of the work, but then you're really setting up the perfect environment for these other products to kind of work the most optimum they can. So I have assembled before me, I have assembled 3 kind of grades of ultrasonic cleaner, because back to the video response, people said, are ultrasonic cleaners safe? Yeah, they're safe. But are they effective? Well, sure. Which one? So I got a very, very inexpensive one that I see a lot of guys talk about. This is an $85 ultrasonic machine that comes from Harbor Freight or one of these big box stores, we'll just say, I guess. We literally bought it this morning. We filled it with distilled water and we have turned it on. I've done nothing. I've never used it. I've never had any experience with it. So I am going to let the jury be out on how good of a cleaner this is. I had this one. This is an older model that I had years ago, and it's kind of something you can buy on Amazon or on eBay. It's a couple $100. I think they're maybe $250 or $350. It's not terribly expensive. It is a little more powerful, so we can show this. And then we got my favorite, the one that I usually tell people when they ask me about an ultrasonic machine. We have a couple of these in our shop that are on the bench tops, and this is from a brand called Crest, not a sponsor. But Crest is kind of in my experience, it's kind of the Cadillac of ultrasonic cleaners. We beat the hell out of these. I'm just going to be really frank. The machines in our shop are on, hours and hours, day in, day out. They're having dirty hands touch them, dirty, gloves, a lot of parts in and out, a lot of, changing of the fluids. Every week we usually change the fluid out. And they just don't stop. We had brands like this in my shop before, and I couldn't tell you how many different times I had to open them up and replace transducers, replace the frequency generator circuit, just constantly working on these. And so definitely not a sponsor, not recommending these really for any kind of industrial usage. I think they may be great for an at-home, occasional usage kind of scenario. But one other note I wanted to say about these before we get into the actual showing them off is the power. So one kind of deceptive thing that these companies will do is they'll talk about the power that's being used. And I'm not going to try to give you the entire story, but let's just say that there's power for the heated component to heat the water, and then there's power for the actual sound wave generator. And a lot of times the cheap ultrasonic machines will show you a really high amount of power. They'll say 100 watt or 200 watt, but then if you read the fine print, or if you really do the investigative journalism on it, you'll find out that 80% of that is just for the heater, and just a very small part is for the actual transducers. So they're not very effective. You want to have a good mix of both. Also, the kind of sound waves. Some of these use static waves where they're just putting the same frequency again and again through the water. Other ones, like the Crest, actually have a sweeping frequency, so they're throwing multiple sound waves of different sizes, and that creates different sized bubbles. Different sized bubbles do different kind of cleaning. So, okay, now that you have a background of what is an ultrasonic cleaner, I think I've explained it fairly good. I want to now demo. So we have a couple razors back here. Again, we've done absolutely no surface prep. So I wouldn't even say this is a good analogy, but I'm just trying to think of the average guy went out to the antique store and he picked up a couple razors and he wants to figure out how to clean them at home. And so we're just going to take them in found condition and drop them in. I'm going to put a couple different cleaners in these different ones, and we'll see which one does, I guess, the best job. This is not a completely scientific test. If we really want to do it scientifically, we would fill each one with all three different cleaners and measure, that. But I got time for that. Bottom line, we already sat here for an hour waiting for these all to heat up, and I am not trying to have the video that's some science comparison and I'm shooting everything out. I'm really just trying to demo and give you guys a rough understanding of how these work. So with all that being said, I'm going to start with our first one, our Harbor Freight Special. It has this curious little tray that I guess you could use. That is something to note. You don't want to have anything directly on the bottom of the machine. So this actually is effective if you have some weight on it, like a razor. So we'll drop this razor in, sinks to the bottom. I'm going to start by my old tried and true classic, and we're just going to put some dish detergent. So I'm pretty sure that the moment I push the power button, it's going to interfere with the sound. So you may be seeing me, but we'll probably have to do some kind of sound over for this. So bye. That's curious. Worked earlier. Let's unplug it. There you go. So, well, whether you can hear me or not, I'll just pretend you can hear me. So I'm going to put just a little bit of dish detergent in there. And I did have, again, this has been used just one time. This is the first usage right now. I turned it on. Yeah, it's just turning itself off. That's not so great. This may answer your question about the quality of it. All I did was we let it heat up for about an hour. If that is not good, then yeah, I'll leave the heater off. Maybe that'll help. Maybe it's drawing too much power, or has a safety feature, but yeah, it's not wanting to go, guys. Maybe we'll let this one, I'm just gonna unplug it for a while, and maybe it doesn't like to be on for a long period of time. Again, I'm used to a machine like this where we literally have them on timers. They turn on actually about 30 minutes before my crew arrives. They're hot when everyone gets in, and they're running all day until the timer turns them back off. So I'm not used to a machine that is finicky, that needs to cool down or is not able to work when I push the button, I'm going to fish it out with my little handy dandy net. This is actually a nice little accessory we use a lot of in the shop. I got these from a little jewelry supply store here locally, and this is specifically for ultrasonic cleaning. It's a plastic mesh container, and it immerses your product or into the solution without you having to search around for where it is, and it lets all the sound frequencies and bubbles and everything hit your parts. Okay, so we're going to try the mid-grade one now. I got my handy dandy little net, and I have a drumstick to span the backside. It's not long enough for this machine. I usually use this net with this machine. So we're up and running on that. Let me add a denture cleaner. There's about 2 of them. See what it does. Let's get weird and wild here, guys. I mean, it smells kind of like a minty soap. It's definitely making a bunch of bubbles in there. Well, it's making a lot of bubbles. Whether it's doing anything effective or not, I guess we'll see. Well, it's nice and minty smelling now. Whether it's doing anything, I think I read that somewhere. And that's the other thing, guys. If you start going down any rabbit hole, as there's a lot of little tunnels on the rabbit hole, right? And someone's going to say this is the best product and this is the best product. I say this because it's very effective, and you probably already have it in your house. I mean, who knows? Maybe you got some of this in your house. I don't know. This one's pretty gnarly, though. That one is gnarly. I really want this to work. The thing is, it actually produces a pretty impressive looking array of sonic activity on the surface, so it looks like well, I don't want to curse it, but it stayed on the longest now. I can't believe that if it's just hot and warmed up, it doesn't want to work. Like, that's crap, that's garbage. So another thing to mention is that ultrasonic cleaning is not supposed to be, an hour-long process or even 20-minute-long process. It's just supposed to be a few minutes. That's what the instructions say. That's what popular advice would tell you. So another kind of credence that this should not be your only cleaning methodology. This should be a last step, is because if you expect it to go in looking horrible and coming out looking perfect, you'll probably be disappointed. Now, you can do it multiple times, of course, but as we mentioned earlier, any razor doesn't want to be sitting in water for hours and hours on end. It's not good for the finish at all. But I kind of want to get the bad boy going. I mean, you can see by how much steam is coming off here just how hot this guy gets. And that's another thing to really, really note, is that I would say the heat is almost as important, if not more important, than the ultrasonic frequencies, because if you try using these things cold, you're going to realize how bad they are. They don't do anything cold. So we're going to put in some of my Sonic Core Buffing Compound Remover number 202, and it's a very nice cranberry red fluid. We used to buy it by the bottle like this, and then now I just recently bought 55-gallon drum of this because we use so much of it. Especially in the big machine in our laboratory, it takes 40 gallons to fill, just the water, and we have to put in like 2 or 3 gallons of that. So, okay, I'm going to borrow the net from over here I guess I could take a quick look at this. Just looking at it, again, it's not polished. It's not like it's magically all that much cleaner. Maybe some of the soap scum's gone. Now, we did have the denture cleaner in here. Maybe that wasn't the best decision to put the denture cleaner in. But the heat and the waves should have done a pretty good job on their own. It's always going to be better with your solvent and your surfactant, of course. I was out of the second machine. I'm just going to quickly reach in and grab this. I mean, I can take my finger and kind of wipe away some of this junk. It does look a little bit cleaner, but again, I think it's mostly just soap scum that's gone. So I'll show you this one now next. Okay, so we got our first two out, and I put my buffing compound remover in the Cadillac model, as I call it, and we're really just gonna focus on the handle on this guy. Well, let's take a look. Wow, that's a big improvement. The handle had all sorts of green, nasty soap scum and water deposits, and it doesn't look perfect, but it looks a heck of a lot better. I know that with some more effective pre-treatment, other than just dropping it in with some actual scrubbing, using a soft brass brush or a toothbrush, and then putting it in, our results would have been even better. But again, this is the Cadillac model, as I'm calling it. Crest makes all sorts of power sonic benchtop units. This is a mid-grade one. There's ones above this, there's ones below this. I think I spent something like $1,200 on this. I bought it brand new off the shelf. I happened to get really, really lucky on Craigslist, and I bought a second one for our shop that was like $250. For the exact same model, or maybe one model different than this, but very, very similar in our workshop. So look on Craigslist. You may get lucky. You may be able to find a dentist office going out of business or a jewelry supply store nearby that has used ones. But I think it's important to note that the brand, the power, the quality does make a massive difference here. This one here from Harbor Freight, the $85 special, we had trouble with it just even staying on. Now, you may leave a comment that I did something wrong. I was supposed to only let it be on for 10 minutes and then turn it off. But to me, that's just not even, it's a joke. We're going to return this, get our money back, because I could never use this in my shop. We have to be able to walk up to the machine, flip it on, and it's good to go for 8 hours. It's not going to complain that it's overheating or something. So this one did a decent job. I was looking at the results. It did okay. It took off some of the major soap scum. It didn't really take off any of the water deposits or anything else. So, and again, I just put in the Dawn dish detergent with better pre-treatment. Probably would have had even better result. The denture cleaner, I think, was a failure. It probably wasn't a good solvent or surfactant to use. But even with, we use this in my shop for a little bit, but I used it more for cleaning little tiny things, little parts here and there, not even a full razor, like a door or something. We ended up just kind of putting it off to the side because it just wasn't powerful enough, and it took forever to heat up. Like, I think we're going on almost 2 hours of this thing heating up. It's still not the temperature, whereas actually both these did just a fine job heating up in a short amount of time. But on that note about quality and about scale, I think it's important to note what we have in our shop. I'm very proud that as Razor Emporium has grown, we've scaled up our equipment and our capabilities to meet the demands of our customers. We have a large Crest ultrasonic machine that's now used almost exclusively for all of our Rex Ambassador and Rex Envoy production. It not only has multiple stations of ultrasonic cleaning. We have the red buffing compound remover in one of them. We have just a clean water rinse in the other. That's recirculating, and we have a clean DI water rinse. And then we have a heated dryer. So not only does it get all of our parts perfectly clean, it'll also dry the parts off so there's no rust or corrosion, so we have perfectly clean parts. And we also have the large machine that's kind of a custom unit that I've built that actually came from a blinds cleaning company, and we've kind of retrofitted it to work for razors, and it's now in our laboratory. It's being used for cleaning multiple racks of razors before they go into the plating line. So we do cleaning at the bench top with the razors, but then even when they're racked up and they go into the plating lab, they're going to get another round of ultrasonic cleaning just to make sure we have every little bit of polishing compound removed so you have the best possible outcomes for your revamped razor. That's all I got. I actually had a lot of fun doing this episode. If you haven't already picked up on it, I'm kind of a geeky guy. Maybe you know that, maybe you don't. I like techie things. I like electronics. I like fluid dynamics, motors, pumps, frequency generators, heaters. All of it's fun. Surfactants, solvents, water, compounds. Some people think it's crazy. I actually love the chaos. I love all of it. I love the techie, geeky nature of trying to figure out the best way to clean a razor, to make it effective, to make it scalable, to make it durable. So I hope it's helped you with your buying decisions. I would probably say avoid this. Maybe if you own one, tell me that it's the perfect thing, and I didn't do A, B, and C. I like the heat. I like the general performance. I just didn't like the finickiness of it. Don't get one of these that's on eBay or Amazon. It's maybe $200 or $300. You may say, oh, it's a lot of money, but I think you'd be better off going on Craigslist or to, like I said, a jewelry supply or a dental lab that's getting rid of equipment and getting a used one. If you really are going to be doing tons and tons of cleaning, please look into Crest or Sonicor. Look at a Sonicor or Crest, or two different brands of companies that make ultrasonic equipment. I've had really, really good luck. They call it professional for a reason. If you're out there and you have professional grade tools of any kind versus stuff off the shelf, you probably know what I mean by professional grade. It's something that's going to work every time you go to use it. It's something that's going to do a really, really good job. You're not going to have to fuss with it. That's what I like. So that's all I got. I'm Matt from Razor Emporium. If you haven't already done so, please leave a comment about your cleaning routine or your experience with ultrasonic cleaners. I want to hear from you. And if you do leave a comment, you're entered in to win this, our official Razor Emporium black and blue t-shirt. Thank you so much for watching. Share this video. Anyone out there on a chat room or forum or Facebook thread and says ultrasonic cleaning, well, put this video in there and they can learn more about it. That's all I got. We'll see you next time at Razor Emporium for all things vintage shaving. Thanks, guys.